Good morning, students. We'll move on with the next topic, that is saving variables with the shelf module. So, in Python, we have a module called as the shelf module. So, this module is used to store objects in a file. That is, if you want to store any values which will be there in your hard drive, like that. So with persistent kind of storage, so even though your power is lost, even then the data will be there as it is. So such kind of storage, you want to store some data like that, then for that you can go in for the shell module. So that's what we are saying here. We can save variables in your Python program to a binary shell file using the shell module. So this shell module is used to store objects in a file. So that data or the storage, you can call it as a persistent storage. Okay. So this way, your program can restore data to variables from the hard drive. So you're going to store using this shell module, so that data it can be stored in a hard drive, and whenever you want to retrieve that data, and again, in that case again you can read that particular file. For that you can use shell open command. So by using the open command you can read the particular file which you have saved. Okay, so that is what they're saying. This way your program can restore the data to variable from the hard drive. So whenever you want, you can restore that particular data. The shell module will let you to add, save as and open features to your program. Other than this, the shell module can also add the features, that is save as well as open. So this shell module you can use whenever you want to store any data. Okay, that can be stored in your hard drive. So if you're using this shell module in your program, then you have to include this module called as import. That is, you have to include this module shell. So for that, how we are writing? We're writing as import shell. Okay, so that will be the first statement. That is what, to read as well as write the data using this shell module, you have to write this import shell. Okay, then after that what we'll do, we are calling the shell dot open. We are using this open function. For that open function you're passing some data, so you can see here we have written as my data. So this my data is nothing but that is the name of a particular file. Okay, so we are passing the file name to this shell dot open, and then store the written shell value in a variable. So here that written value is stored in this variable called as shell file. Okay, so in this particular code that is given to you, what are we doing here is we are going to create a list. Okay, so about list we have already seen in the previous session. So here in the list, what items you have? You have the items as Zufi, Puka, and Simon. So this example we had already seen in the previous sessions. So these are nothing but the name of the cat. Okay. So some nickname you can give the names of the cat as Zufi, Puka as well as Simon. So what we have done here is we have created a list and we have added some items to the list. That items are nothing but names of the cat, and that list is having a name here. It as cats. Okay. Next step, what are we doing here is, you can see here shell file cat is equal to cats. This is nothing but you are storing the in this shell file. What are you doing here is this cats, you're having the list in which you're having the names of the cat that you're storing into this shell file. Okay, so that is the thing what is happening here. So first what we are doing, we create a list called as cat, and we write shell file of cat is equal to cat. So what does this do is, this is going to store the list in shell files as a value associated with the key cats. Okay, so that is what is happening here. And after that what you're going to do, you're just going to close, that is shell file dot close function to close your particular shell file. So what you have done in this particular code is you have added some value. What is that value? You have added the values of this list cats, and after that you have closed. So what has happened now? the data has been stored. Okay, so when this particular code is running, then in Windows what happens is three files will be created in the current working directory. That is nothing but, in the previous session we saw how to know the current working directory, that is get cwd, right? So the three files will be, so here name of the file you have given as my data. So the three files that will be created is my data dot back file, and my data dot dat file, and my data dot dir. So these three files will be created case of Windows. Okay, so these binary files contain the data that you are stored in the shelf. Okay, that is the thing here. The main purpose of using this shell module is, this module will free our task. That is, we don't need to worry about how to store the data into a file. So that will be done by this shell module. So the advantage of using this shelf module is, as a programmer we don't need to worry about how to store our program's data to a file. Okay, so what happened in this particular example, in the first example, what are we saying? We are creating a list, and in the list what value you have, that you're storing into this shelf. That has happened here. Okay, now the next thing, so what did we say in the beginning? We can store, right? We can store the data, and whenever you want you can retrieve that particular data. So to retrieve, that is what we are saying, we can reopen or retrieve the data from the shelf files. So that is what we are seeing in the second example here. So you can see here, shell file dot open my data. So you're going to open that file, that is type is shell file. So it is going to give you the name here, that is db file name dot shelf, and in that shelf file you are given shelf file cats. So when you're given shelf file cats, so for that shelf file cats, what we have put, we have put the values of this particular list. That is, it is containing Zufi, Puka as well as Simon. So what is happening when you're giving shelf file of cats, when you're given like this, what data is stored here? That particular data is displayed. That is nothing but you are retrieving the data what you had stored over here. Okay, so that data is displayed here again in the form of a list, and after that you can just close your shell file. Okay, and the third example that is given to us is, so in the previous example what we said, again it is displayed in the form of a list. Okay, so we already spoke about dictionaries in the previous session. So when you say dictionaries, we are having key as well as values. Okay, so just like dictionaries, shelf values have keys as well as values. So we can use the key method as well as the value method, that will return list like values of key and as well as values in the shelf. So that is what we are doing here. So list shelf file dot key. So when first of all you're going to open that particular file. After you are opening, we want to display in dictionary how you have key as well as value pair. Similarly, you can display it over here also. So for that, what you're doing, first of all list, that is result should be in the form of a list dot keys. So here, what did we say here? This list, whatever we have created, that is nothing but it is containing the names of the cat, right? So this cats is nothing but that is the keys. So here, when you say shelf file dot keys, then the result what you're going to get is cats. That is nothing but the key. Okay. Similarly, what are the values associated to this key? So the values associated with this key are Zufi, Puka as well as Simon. So that is nothing but when you give shell file dot values. So list of shell file dot values. So the result again will be displayed in the form of list. So what are the values that are there for this key cats are Zufi, Puka as well as Simon. That is what we have given here. So after that you are going to close your shell files. So this is an example what you have to write for shelf module. Okay, so the thing what you're going to say here is shell module you can use to store your data. So the task of how to store all those tasks is reduced by using this shelf module. So when first of all we are opening a particular, so in the beginning, what we need to do, we have to import this shelf module. After that, any file what you want to open, that particular name you have to pass. Then in this example, what we have done is we have created a list, and in the list we have given some items. Okay, here these are the items which also act as values, and the key is nothing but here, that is cats, or other way you can say name of your list also, it can also act as a keys. And so here what we have done, we have stored means it will be stored in some secondary, so we said it is persistent storage, so it will be stored in some secondary storage device. So whenever you want, you can retrieve that data. So to retrieve that data, that is the second example that is given to you. Okay, so you have given shelf file cats. So what happens, for the shelf file cats, you have assigned the value of this particular list. So what happens when you give shelf file cats, whatever value you have given for the list, that value is displayed. And in the third example, what we are saying, you can display it in the form of a list. Dictionary. So when you say dictionary, remember we are having key as well as value pair. So if you want the key to be displayed, then you're using this method keys. If you want the value to be displayed, then you're using the method values. And before in the beginning, it should be preceded by this list. So it will be displayed in the form of a list. Finally, you close it as shelf file dot close. Okay, so this is about your shelf module. Next, we'll go to the next topic, that is p print p format. So about this p print, we have already learnt in list as well as dictionary. So there we said that we want, that is we said we named it as pretty print. So there we had learnt pprint function, that is nothing but we called it as pretty print, in which the contents of the list or dictionary uh, that was displayed on the screen. Okay, so pretty print, when you say printing in a nicer way, appearance. Okay, so that is what we had spoken about print or pretty print in the chapter, that is list as well as dictionaries. While here we'll speak about pprint p format function. This will return the same text as a string instead of printing that. Okay, so it is going to return the string. So again, just see the example here. So here, yeah, that's what we said. It is going to return the string, and using this pprint p format will give us a string that we can write to a file which is having the extension .py. Okay, so that data what is returned, we can write to a file. So that file name we have mentioned here, mycats.py. Okay, and along with that, we can also write the mode what you want. So this file will be our very own module that we can again use it in our code as import. How we are in this case import pprint we have written. Similarly, you can also write import mycats. So that file can be used as a module which we can import whenever we want to use that variable, use any variable that is stored in it. Okay, so we'll just see the example that is given to us. So first thing is, if you want to use this pprint, first of all you have to include this module, that is we are saying as import pprint. So that is the first thing, we import pprint. Because of that, we can use this function pprint p format. Okay, so which is going to return us the string. So we have a list of dictionaries that is stored in this variable, that is, so in this variable cats, what are we having? You can just see here. We have list of dictionaries here. So dictionaries, when you say, we have the combination of keys as well as values, right? So here the key is name and description. What are the values for that? Name is Zufi, description is Chubby. Similarly, the next one key you have name, that is Puka, and description, that is Fluffy. Okay, so we have a list of dictionaries that are stored in this variable cats. So to keep this list in cats that is available even after we close the shell. For that purpose we can use pprint p format cats. So even though you close your shell, so all this you're writing in your interactive shell or your id. Okay, so even after you close the shell, we can use this pprint format to return it as a string. So in that case, now what happens? In the beginning, we said we can have a file that this data can be written into a file with the py extension. So that is what we are writing here. So just see here, pprint p format cats. When you give the details of this variable cats is displayed. So what is there in this cats? We already said it is containing a list of dictionaries which is having the name as well as description as a key, and the values pair is Zoofy and Chubby, and Puka and Fluffy. So when you give pprint p format cat, that particular data is displayed. Now what are we doing next? So that data can be written into a file with .py extension. Okay, so that is here mycats.py. In this case, what is the operation you want to do? You want to write into this particular file. Okay, so this particular data is written, and in the next statement what you can do, cats is equal to plus p format cat. So all those data is written, and this 83 is nothing but the size of that particular file will be returned to us. And finally you're closing by using file object dot close. Okay, so this is one example that they have given for mm, pprint p format. So along with that, we also said we can use this particular file as a module. So that is what is done in the next case. So just see here, the name of the file we had given as mycats.py. So in mycats.py, what data we are writing, whatever is written by this pprint p format. So this data is written into this file mycats.py. So you are importing that particular file, mycats. Okay. So when you give mycats cat, the entire thing data will be displayed. If you give my cats of 0, means what? So we said list of dictionaries. So this will be your cats of 0. This will be your cats of 1. Like this it goes on. So here what are we telling? We are telling my cats dot cats of 0. So cats of 0 means this entire thing. Where in name you have Zoofy and description you have Chubby. So that will be displayed. So name is Zoofy and description is Chubby. Again, you can still further refine it. Cats of 0 means this particular thing. In that, you just want the name. So that time you can mention here as name. Similarly, instead of name, you want description, then you can just give the description. If you want the next value to be displayed, then instead of my cats of 0, you can give my cats of 1. Again, name when you give, then Puka will be displayed. If you give description, Fluffy will be displayed. So this is all about your pprint p format, wherein the string is written, and that string you can write it into a file, and that file into which you have written, that can be used as a module which you can import. Okay, so that is what we have imported here, and again we are displaying the data of this. So this is all about this particular chapter, that is reading and writing files. And the next topic in this chapter that is given to you in your syllabus is two projects they have given. Okay, two projects they have given. The first project in the sense just the program. Okay, the first program, that is generating random quiz files. So here what they're saying here is, we assume we are a teacher and we want to conduct a quiz. Okay, we want to conduct a quiz to students. There are 35 students. So they we assume that if we give the same questions to everyone, they will copy. So what we want to do, we want to give 35 different quizzes. Okay, so what are we saying here? A teacher is there. Teacher wants to conduct a quiz for 35 students. Okay, so all the 35 students will be given the questions in different orders. Okay, it is MCQ kind of questions. So the order will be changed. And that is okay. So we'll come back. So what we were saying about the quiz. So the quiz will contain. So what is a quiz is US state, okay, as well as their corresponding capital. So questions will be like, this is a particular state. What is the capital of that particular state? That is a quiz, okay. And what happens? This is a random quiz. So all the 35 students will be getting the question in random order. So won't be in the same order. So this particular program creates 35 different quizzes for 35 different students, creates 50 multiple choice questions for each quiz. So in that quiz, how many questions will be there? 50 MCQs will be there. Provides a correct answer and three random wrong answers for each quiz in random order. So this is a thing what should be done. So one correct answer will be there and other three will be wrong, okay. So after that, writes the quiz to 35 text files. So this quiz has to be sent to 35 different students, so 35 different text files. And along with that, writes answer key to 35 text files. So quiz, that is 35 text file, again the answer key also should be there. So for that, next 35 text files, okay. This means that code will do the following. What are the things this particular code is going to do? Store the state and their capital in a dictionary. So we are using the concept of dictionaries. So in dictionaries, how you're going to store your data? We are going to have key as well as value pair. So here key will be nothing but the state and value will be the capital of that particular state, okay. Then call open, write, close for the quiz and answer key text file, and after that use a random shuffle to randomize the order of the questions and MCQs. So these are the things what your program is going to do, okay. So they have given you stepwise, so we'll see step by step. So the first thing what is told here, you can see here Python. So this is the Python code, and you have written some comment here, the random quiz generated.py and random order. So this is the comment. So the first step will be to create a skeleton script and to fill with your quiz data. So here we are creating a file named random quiz generator.py, okay. That is the first thing. Then after this, so we are importing. So here what did we say? We want to generate the quiz should be in the random order, right? Means all the 35 students should not get the questions in the same order. So for that purpose we are using the random function. So for that purpose we have to import this particular module, that is random, okay, since we are going to use the random function. Next, what we have done, the capital variable. So here you can see we have a variable called as capital, which is containing dictionary with US states as the key and the corresponding capital as the value, okay. So you can see here in this dictionary you have state as well as their capital, okay. And since we want to create 35 quizzes, the code that code will be generating 35 quizzes as well as answer key files. So for that purpose, we are using this for loop here. So for quiz number in range 35, that means since we want to give the question, that is a quiz text file as well as answer key files for 35 different students, in the for loop we have given this range starting from 0 to it will go, that is total 35, okay. Um, if you want more, then you can change here. And this to do is nothing but these are the next things what we have to do. So in the first step, what did we do? We just created the dictionary wherein we have the key as well as value pair. Key is nothing but the state, value is nothing but the capital of that particular state. And also we use the for loop here. This is because we need to generate 35 different quiz files, okay. So what are the next steps that is given in your to do? So what is told in to do? The next is you have to create the quiz as well as answer keys, and after that you have to write out the header of the quiz, shuffle the order, then loop. So these are the next things what we have to do. So they have given you step by step. So in the exam, if they're asking you write a program to generate a quiz for 35 different students, then the entire program you should do. This is just the first part. Okay, so please listen. Other day in internals, the tic-tac-toe program was asked. Some have written only the last part. That is not the case. The entire program should be there. In the beginning, you're going to set mid left, mid right, all those things. Only if that is done, the final code is completed there. Some have written only the last part and they're saying that that is a code for tic-tac-toe. Not like that. So same thing here. If the question is asked to write a code for generating random quiz, then you have to start from here itself. Okay, that is a first step in which dictionary is created and a for loop is written for generating 35 different quizzes. Next step. In the next step, so now we are going to do whatever is told in that to do. So the code in the for loop, you can see here in the for loop you have written it should be repeated 35 times. So once each quiz, so for each of the student one quiz should be there. So for that purpose this for loop is there. Okay, so you can see here range 35, create the quiz as well as answer key file. So what we are doing here, we are creating the quiz file as well as answer key file. So you can see here quiz file is equal to open. So your name of the question paper will be capital quiz, and after this you have percentage s. So this percentage s is nothing but quiz number plus 1. So if that is quiz number, initially it will be 0. So how it will be for the first student or the first quiz paper will be capital quiz 1.txt. Similarly, answer key file will be capital quiz answer 1.txt. Similarly, next one will be 2. So as a for loop, this quiz number value will change. Even the text file names will be changed. So this is for creating your quiz as well as answer key files. So what are we doing here? This is your quiz file. Quiz file is nothing but it is a question paper. Okay. Whereas answer key file is nothing but in which you have the answer keys that which will be sent later. Okay. So what is this quiz number plus 1? That is nothing but for this particular thing here. So capitals quiz 1.txt. So that one, how did we get? We got it through this. Quiz number initially it will be 0, 0 plus 1 is 1. So we are opening this particular file in write mode. Similarly, this also in the write mode. We are opening the two files in the uh, write mode. Okay, so that is what about your quiz file, which wherein you're telling the numbers. Okay, so write out the header of the quiz. So once in first case, what did we do? We are going to create the two files, that is quiz file as well as answer key file for each of the students. So each of the 35 students, one quiz file as well answer key file should be generated. So for that you're using the open function, and followed by capital quiz is nothing but name of the file. Percentages is nothing but it will be 1, 2, 3, like this it goes on changing. Okay, so that is one thing. And next you have to write the header for the quiz. So header for the quiz is nothing but in your question paper, student should be you should allow the space wherein student should write his name, and also he has to enter the date followed by a period there, which hour it is. Okay, that is the thing what we are doing here. You can see just show you. So like this, your question paper should be like this. So name, date, period, and capital quiz form 1. So like this it will be displayed. Followed by that you will be having the question and the 4 options. This is your question paper, whereas this is your answer key. Okay, D, C, A, C. So out of this, one will be the correct option and other 3 will be the wrong one. So that is what we are doing here. So you can see into that is nothing but we just saw here this thing. So you're giving those many space and you're writing state capital quiz and after that you're going to write as form 1. Form 1 is for the first student. Okay, so quiz number initially it will be 0, 0 plus 1 is 1. So this particular thing is nothing but the header part. Okay, wherein you have name, next line you have date, next line you have period, and after that you're giving space. How many space? This 20 spaces. And after that state capital quiz will be displayed. Form whatever number, that number, this value, how you're going to get, you're going to get quiz number plus 1. Okay, and after that you're going to have some new lines. Next, what happens next? In the dictionary, so capitals dot key, so capitals dot key, so we already spoke about the dictionary, right? In the first step we created the dictionary. What is a key? Key is nothing but this capital, that is key is nothing but the states here: Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, then California, Colorado, all those things. So these are the keys. Okay, so that keys you are going to write. So capitals dot key is nothing but uh, the state name will be displayed. Okay, that is nothing but your states. Then random dot shuffle states. So what is this random dot shuffle state? So we said that all the different students will be getting different questions in the sense the question numbers. So if the first person gets the first question as Arizona, next one might be getting Colorado as the first question. So for that purpose you're using random shuffle of states. So the states will be in the which so this particular statement, what does it do? Randomly reorders, okay, the states. So that is the second step. So what is the next thing we have to do? So the next things, so what that is in your to do. So in your to do, what is the next thing you have? Loop through all 50 states, making a question for each. So for okay, the next step is create the answer option. So far we spoke about the question. Now we need to generate the answer. So now we need to generate the answer options for each of the question. So again, answer will be in what form? It will be in the form of multiple choice. Okay, I already showed you that answer key. So it will be in the form of multiple choice from A to D. Okay, so for this purpose, again we are using one more for loop here, wherein you're giving the range as 50. So this will generate the content for each of the 50 questions on the quiz. Okay, so since we have 50 questions in your quiz, so for that purpose you have given the range as 50 here. Okay, so what happens is here we are generating the answer key. So the correct answer anyways, here you can see here we have used the loop here. In the first case you are going to have the correct answer. So for every states you are going through the loop for all the 50 questions. So it will loop through the states in the shuffle states, that is from 0 to 49 it will go. It will find the state in the capital and store that in the answer, that is in the correct answer. So what happens for every state which is the correct capital for that? So for that purpose it is going to capital. So here capital is nothing but your dictionary variable, right? In the inside that capital, what you have states as well as their corresponding values. So for particular state, the correct answer is displayed here. Yes, what happened? Okay. So the correct answer will be stored in this variable correct answer. And so what are we doing here? So one will be the right answer, and other remaining everything will be wrong anyways, right? So the list of possible wrong answers will be displayed. So what you're doing here is you can get it by duplicating all the values in the capital dictionary. And what we are doing here is only the correct answer we will delete. So just see here, we are going to duplicate all the values, and the correct answer here you can see wrong answer dot index correct answer. So correct answer already we got here. So for a particular state which is a capital, that is stored in this variable correct answer. Okay. So how you are going to get the wrong answer is the entire copy will be taken and you're only deleting the correct answer. So when you have deleted the correct answer, remaining one whatever you have, that is obviously the wrong answers, right? So those wrong answers, that is other three will be the total four options will be the A, B, C, D. So one will be the correct answer and other three will be the wrong answers. Okay. So that is how we are going to display here. Wrong answer plus correct answer. That is your answer option. So total four options will be having. Those four options again it will be random dot shuffle you are using to shuffle it. The next thing what we have to do is write the question and answer option to quiz file and write the answer key to the file. That is your step 4. So what and all we have done, we have created the quiz and we have selected the correct answer, that is options. Okay. So next step what we are doing, the last step that is left to write the questions to the quiz file and write the answer to the answer file. So that is what we are doing in the last step, that is write the content to the quiz as well as answer file. Okay. So again, for loop that goes through the integer 0 to 3. Here you can see here, you have the range I in range 4. That means you're going from 0 to 3, total 4. Okay. We'll write the answer options in the answer of, you can see here, answer option I. So in there you will be having, you are writing the data in the answer keys. Okay. The expression ABCD of I, you can see here, treats the string ABCD as an array and it will evaluate as A, B, C, like that. So that is nothing but you have the first option, second option as B, third option as C, like that it goes on. Okay. And the next you can see here, this particular line, answer file dot write. So the expression, this particular thing, that is index correct answer, it will find the integer index of the correct answer in the random order of your answer option. It will evaluate the correct answer's letter to be written into the answer file. So what does this particular statement do? It is going to write the correct answer in your answer key file. Finally, you're going to close the quiz file as well as answer key file. Quiz file is nothing but your question, whereas answer key is nothing but your answer file. Okay. So here in this step, what are we going to do? We are going to write the content to the question paper as well as your answer key files. So you can see here quiz file dot write. So what are you doing? What is the capital of percentage S? So this percentage S is nothing but the first question. Okay. So you are written as quiz question number plus 1. So initially your question number value will be 0. So 0 plus 1 is nothing but, here it be 1, and states of the question number. So for that corresponding state the number, initially it will be like the 0 1, like that it goes on. So this is how you're going to write the values into question paper as well as your answer key. So your question paper questions will be like this. 1, what is the capital of? So here it is given as West Virginia. So that is nothing but, what is the capital of percentage S? That percentage is how you're going to get question number plus 1. Okay. So in this case, the first question, that is West Virginia. So what did we say here? This case it will be randomly considered. Okay. So for that purpose you are using the random keyword there. So this is how your question paper is written and this is your answer key file. So you're going to select from this. Okay. So that is about your program, that is your generating random quiz. So we have one more program, that is multi clipboard. So that we'll see it in the next class. So we'll just